do plants get pain when we kill and cut them? If you're a student of biology, you'll be able to answer. Well, I am not a student of biology. I have never really studied biology in great detail, but yeah, well, I have some understanding of biology. I was indeed fascinated with biology at a certain point in time, especially zoology. Botany was a little boring for me, but yeah, this is in botany, but let me try and explain. So we know that plants have an internal structure. We have something called vascular plants. Vascular plants are those plants that transport uh, fluids and various other tissue, whether various other nutrients, etc., from the roots into the various extremities of the plant. So they have an internal vascular structure similar to the veins and arteries we have to some extent. Okay, that's a rough approximation. It's not the right approximation, it's a rough approximation. So if you look at the cross section of a plant, then you have the epidermis, which is the outer hard part, which is basically dead cells. Then inside, one layer deep, you have this sclerenchyma tissue, which is the supporting tissue, which makes plants hard and stiff, etc., which is made up of cellulose and lignin and such materials. Then inside, you have two kinds of transport tissue, which is xylem and phloem. And at the very core of the plant, you have a soft tissue, which is called the pith, which is made up of parenchyma, and it contains starch and various other nutrients. So we know that this is the way transportation happens inside plants, and plants are definitely sensitive to external stimuli, not the way we are. Plants don't have muscles, so they can't move in real time. But if we observe a time lapse of a plant, then you see that it does uh, move around. It does respond to the external environment. Certain plants follow the path of the sun because that's where the sunlight comes from. They need it for photosynthesis, so they do respond to external stimuli. That is a fact. And it is known that plants do respond to music also. This is also an observed fact that has been corroborated by multiple studies. So there is some sort of awareness, if you could call it that, of the external world, and there is some sort of responsiveness to what's happening outside. And we know that plants also compete with each other in a forest, and they try to avoid each other's regions, each other's zone of each other's personal space, so to say, in forests and jungles, etc. So there is some sort of awareness. Now, I don't know whether we should call it consciousness of or awareness, or what we would call it. And we don't know for sure what they feel, whether they do feel pain or not if we cut them, because nobody has really tried to investigate this in detail. People even say that that certain animals like crustaceans and lobsters and shrimps, etc., don't feel pain. Well, that is a lie, because you can see the response to hot water. People unfortunately boil lobsters and crabs and shrimp alive for the sake of cooking, right? So you do see the response to that sort of stimulus. They do feel pain. You can see that frantic response. So similarly, it is possible that plants may also have that sort of sensation, if you could call it that. But there is a lack of scientific studies in this field, so we cannot say for sure. But it would be, I would say, it would be naive to say that they don't have any sensations, because they do respond to external stimuli. They do respond to the environment around them. So it is possible that they may feel pain when we kill them or cut them, etc. But well, that is the nature of life. You have to eat other life forms in order to stay alive. That's always been the nature of life on this planet, especially when it comes to multicellular organisms. Certain unicellular organisms are able to uh, generate energy and nutrients from the environment uh, without eating or preying upon other life forms. But in the case of large multicellular life forms like us, we have to eat other organisms in order to survive. So that is unfortunately a fact of life. So if they do feel pain, well, that's just the way it is. So it is possible, yes, that they feel pain, possibly.